Hey guys, and welcome to Sounds Like NYC episode 46. I'm here with Blakelee and
Jason.
How you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
We're doing fine.
A
bit tired,
today.
but
It's
yeah.
so cold.
It was so good, like at the start of this week. Like, I don't know what happened.
No, I know. Last night I got this Valentine's dress a couple weeks ago when I knew that the weather was going to be like fine.
Yeah.
And then, it was like my leg, there was like a slit and it was freezing.
Yeah.
it didn't ruin the day, but it was
Yeah.
definitely cold.
It's so easy being a guy. Just
Dude,
wear
I know.
sweaters.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you don't want to walk there?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to walk
I mean,
there."
like, how far was it?
We were going to Lincoln Center. We saw Swan Lake. We
cool,
were
yeah.
so cheesy last night. We went and saw Swan Lake.
Had plans for the horse carriage in the park too.
Oh, but it was too cold.
It was
Yeah.
it was too cold.
Oh man, that sucks.
You
Yeah.
just want to go see Parasite.
Oh yeah, I want to see
I
that
wanna
too.
see it so badly.
I want to see that too. There's only
It's so
I
good.
think 1 more week, and then it goes away.
Oh my
Am
god!
I right? Yeah.
No, oh crap! Because like I'm planning on watching it with my friends next Saturday, but I guess we have to.
No,
Like,
I think you're
change
good.
plans.
I think it's the
Yeah,
28th.
fine. Okay,
It's the
so
28th,
fine.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's good then.
You guys need to watch it.
Did you guys have a good Valentine's Day?
Well, we're not together, but like.
I just meant in general, but
Oh, okay.
Daniel, your masculinity is showing.
No.
yeah,
It
that was like
normal.
really quick assumption.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that, but like, I mean, he probably had like a better thing. I was supposed to meet up with a friend to work on some music, but it was too cold, so like he
Yeah.
didn't want to make it, all the way from like LA, from like Long Island University, all the way down. All the way to Brooklyn, and
you can't even be mad. You're like, I get
it. Yeah. Like, I'm not planning on going outside tomorrow anyway, so it's cool.
Yeah.
But like, how was yours, David?
It was okay. We went to go see a movie and dinner. It was fun, right? We had a lot of fun.
okay, so
Oh yeah, do you want to do the intro?
Well, yeah. I mean, so tell me a little about what you do. I mean, you said you used to be a dancer, then you transitioned into painting, right?
yeah, I grew up dancing and I was so hardcore. I was like,
Yeah.
wanted to be prima. I did like a lot of competition stuff and everything. And then after college, I kind of, am I okay?
Yeah,
Am I
you're good.
too
You're
close?
good.
No,
Okay.
fine, fine.
All right. After college, I kind of just like really stopped loving that after you got done performing and it was done. You know what I mean? There was no permanence to dance, but
Yeah.
that's why I love movement. But I also like really craved more. And I felt like I just needed something to go back on besides movement.
Okay.
But I mean, I love dance. I still do it. It's part of my process. But that's why I kind of started doing painting. And then I just fell in love with all of it. Like I can't create in one medium without doing the other. It doesn't work for me. So we kind of did For the Observer together. And it's basically just like a collection of what I document, whether it's movement, poetry, journal entries, like anything that goes into the painting. And it's all open to anyone who wants to look at it because I feel like I can't like put myself into one box, so I have to just release it all.
And I think it's really important for an artist to give sort of context on like what they're making.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see like what people were thinking while they were doing it.
Yeah.
And you just have a collection of like anything that inspired you to do that piece.
Yeah, and it's really hard sometimes because I think a lot of artists are worried about being too vulnerable and releasing too much because it kind of backfires. So a lot of things that are personal that go into the paintings, I just decided right off the bat that I'm going to have to be okay with whatever happens once they're released, So yeah.
I mean, I think as an artist, you're supposed to be vulnerable though, right?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think that that's shifting because we have so much access to immediately judge and then you're done with that. You know what I mean? It's like very quick paced right now in the art world. So I have seen a lot of people retract in that and not be so vulnerable. So yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting for sure. Yeah. So like, have you ever tried to like dance and paint at the same time, or
Yeah,
like?
I mean, so I do the painting that I do is large scale oil, but I paint, I sponge the oil. Like, so movement is so heavily into my process. Like, my biggest one so far is a 7x6 painting, and I literally have to like go into the deepest second I can to like sponge in fluidity, and so like I can't separate the movement from
That's
the
really
canvas.
cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and I want to get bigger, and I'm like, I'm gonna need a harness.
like what the like fancy circus shows?
Circus
Soleil,
That's what I need,
of, like,
because
painting.
like it makes the paint move, and that's the point. You know, you're putting the movement, you're putting that language onto another language because they're both so important. So yeah.
So you prefer to do bigger pieces than
I cannot do a small piece. I will start painting on the floor. I'm like, he knows. We're getting our floors redone.
Yeah. So like, speaking of your husband, like, how does your I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Jason.
Jason, sorry, Jason. So like, are you guys kind of like a manager artist team, that sort of thing? Or are you like also a creative person with your own personal work and stuff like that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll give the intro to the answer, and I'm sure Blakelee will tack on.
Yeah.
I'm not an artist. I'm in technology. So I think Blakelee,
He's an artist in his own way.
Blakelee's concepts really lend themselves to immersive media, especially that type of technology. We feel like there's a void in the art world, frankly, as someone sort of not on sort of the inside or in the industry. When she takes me to galleries, I appreciate all of the work, of course. But I think that the sort of gallery experience and the pieces themselves would really lend themselves to some of the more immersive media that other types of venues are starting to adopt, like museums, beacon technology.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Park Avenue Armory?
I have heard of that, yes.
Okay, yeah, because our high this goes way back, but like I have like because I have experience working there, and like we went to like an architecture school, so like there's kind of like a symbiotic kind of like intern type of relationship thing going on over there.
We performed there a couple times too, right?
Oh yeah, that goes way back. Yeah. Oh my god.
There's probably a video going on like around there.
I saw a video.
I want to delete it, but
No, don't delete it.
Saul has
It's
a
all
video.
good.
bad.
Saul has a
good.
video.
It's
I think
so bad. Yeah,
Saul has a
I
video.
know he does.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like report him so he gets deleted or something.
Yeah, but like I was just thinking that like the Park Avenue Armory would be the perfect place for that type of multi artistic, multi whatever, type of performance, combining different tracks, combining different disciplines of like, arts. That's like really
One of
cool.
One of the other biggest things that we've noticed, especially just we've committed the past year to showing a lot of works just to see the type of response. And like, we definitely noticed things like that, or like experiences like we just went to, what was it called? Arcadia.
What is that?
No, it's like
Where is it?
It's an interactive experience. It's all based on like earth pieces where they kind of like artistically represent what we're doing with the world and how we're going.
Fuck it, we're going.
Just like drop the whole
handheld.
thing,
I was
sir.
like, I'm just talking about something important, but it's all good. No worries.
David, the children.
Yeah, the children.
Oh,
Yeah, you forgot.
I'm sorry from New York.
No, it's okay. It's
Well,
all right.
that's how
They're good. They're plugged in.
Well, that's how we know that you're raising your kids well. They're not really.
They
acting
don't
up or
even.
anything.
I'm like 30 minutes, and I promise we'll have a talent show tonight. I was like, yeah, we're even going to bring out the microphones. But anyway, we just noticed that a lot of the stuff isn't open to the public. Like, it's definitely not. It's something that you either have to pay a lot for that you don't know about, or a lot of people aren't even exposed to the things that are happening with immersive media and technology. And I really think that is important with the kind of work we want to do, because oil is such a traditional art form. It's like definitely doesn't draw as much attention right now as other mediums do. And I'm so in love with oil. There's so much that oil paint offers, like the mind of each individual, because it's ongoing all the time. You can always change an oil painting. So it's really important to keep that style alive. So we really are focused on creating immersive media that brings refined art to the public, in a way where it's experience-based, it's immersive, it's interactive, but it's also paying a tribute to like traditional art forms. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm like looking at Arcadia Earth right now. It's like
but the
it's like a
tickets
wonderland.
It is, and it's really
visit?
cool, but it's really expensive. I loved it, so I'm not bashing Arcadia. I loved it. So something like that, I just want it to be more accessible.
It's a sculpture-based installment. Kind of walk through, like maybe that's the armory kind of concept that you had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
walking through different rooms, installations.
Yeah, it's immersive.
And they have AR specific, like so. You use your phone, and there's kind of hot spots as you're walking through, as you're kind of the artist is leading your eye to a certain point. And you'll see sort of augmented reality type of.
And it was cool, content. Except then in that aspect, like a lot of people were stopping and not really paying attention to the art. They were paying attention to if it was post worthy, you know, like
that's
what
like the biggest thing. That's like that's like the biggest obstacle, because I heard that, you know, I was like watching a video about how like traditional museums are trying to stay alive, and they're basically becoming all like Instagram galleries, and that takes a lot of the life out of art. At the same time, you know, traditional museums aren't. You could like argue that they're not the most entertaining of places, but at the same time, like I wouldn't want all museums just to become like Instagram galleries.
But I think that's so related, because if it's not something that's going to benefit you, usually we're not going to do it, right? But and then so museums, art galleries, everyone, they're trying really hard to get people there. But what are you drawing? What audience are you drawing? And you're just gonna keep projecting like into that post experience. Make sure you have your cute outfit behind this earth piece that someone took 4 or 5 months to make that actually has a purpose. You know what I mean? But if we focused everything on the art, and the experience was through the art, that's what makes that different. And that's what we're aiming for, because it's not so you're not the object anymore, and neither is the art. It's the experience you're creating with the art. And that's what I'm really like hoping to do.
So you feel like cool. Like social media has helped or like hindered artists?
I love social media because I think every single person is creative in their own way. I would never knock like everyone participating in the creative world, you know. I think Instagram's a great way for everyone to feel like they can create and expose beautiful things that matter to them. The only thing I think it kind of hinders is what we just talked about, people going to things and spending money for the effect of them. Oh, sorry, my little girl just took a Polaroid. Cool. She's a photographer. She paints too.
Nice.
But anyway, no, I don't think it's like bad anyway. You would probably be able to answer more about Instagram than me.
So like specific, because I want to ask Sean, is it right?
Jason.
If you forget,
I'm so sorry.
Should we leave? Babe, should we leave?
No, I'm so sorry. No, but Jason. Okay, yeah. So like
Johnny, right?
Yeah. Jimbo.
No, so like specifically, so like, what is your role in all this? Because are you kind of like the guy that's like behind the scenes setting up all the LEDs, kind of like working the kinks technology wise, or like tell me more about how you want to help Blakelee's kind of like career, and like how, like what's your role basically, you know?
I'm in technology, so I help build the website for Blakelee's artwork. It's called fortheobserver.com.
For the Observer, okay.
Definitely go check it out, and
check it out, everybody. Please check it out.
For the Observer, I'll plug it 50 times.
She's got all her work there, and then it's sort of like, as far as like a website can go, kind of like illustrates the concept a little bit, like as you're seeing sort of first the brilliant oil piece, sort of layered in as you kind of go to the next level on the site experience, are all of the influential factors that we were talking about before. When she's making the piece, all of the music she's listening to, all of the interesting imagery, photo imagery that's kind of inspiring what eventually goes onto the canvas, and then of course movement and video and stuff too. So it's kind of all like intertwined and layered into the actual page where you're actually observing the brilliant painting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, developing her, website and sort of digital presence. Then in the future, and I think we're going to get into kind of where she wants to go next. But working that sort of immersive media angle to her pieces when she gets her next solo show, get a grant, and then develop, work with the technologists, work with the programmers to develop her augmented reality. And
when we get a grant,
that's really cool. Yeah. So like, how long have you been doing? So like, when did your like art, or like when did this specific chapter of your life begin? Like, how long have you guys been doing this, or like when was the spark kind of like
I mean,
created.
I'm going to be real cheesy right now and say I've been painting, dancing, everything since I was like born. But when I really decided that I wanted to, or I felt like I had something to say or to help, like, and to show, I think it's been about a year that For the Observer came out, but we've been working together for 2 years now. Just like really trying to establish like our concept and our purpose in the art world and a way to like make it something that we'd be really happy with. So yeah, it's been a short amount of time to where I still feel like I'm gaining a voice and gaining like knowing exactly what I want to say, but it's been a long enough time to know that it's something that like we love doing. And I want to keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we interview a bunch of like young artists. I think it'd be really interesting to see like how the family dynamic is, like, you know, making art, like how has like having children change your
I mean, you would think there's so many things you could say that are a little bit stressful, but then like we don't have a kitchen table. That's my studio. We have a living room and then I have a tarp, and they know that. And like the kids bring so much life to what you're doing because we take them to the galleries to get the 7-foot paintings. They direct us on the streets. They know like not to cross if there's only 10 seconds left. Like they're being exposed to people really working hard to create the world a better place and our lives. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy, definitely. Like sometimes applesauce gets on my canvas and you have to go with it.
just part of the story.
Yeah, it's just part of the story. But I mean, I'm a Capricorn, he's a Cancer. We can handle anything. So yeah. But yeah, I'm 26 and Luke and Harper are my stepkids. So it's very different having kids that are a lot older, but me being in a process of like finding identity and stuff. And so it's been such a cool dynamic because I'm very aware. I'm very aware of where the world needs to go because I'm living with kids who are going to be a part of that. But I'm in the generation of change. So I feel like I have a lot of responsibility.
If you guys don't mind talking about like how was the process, because I've had like 2 stepdads over the years and stuff like that.
Me
so
too.
like so like you guys, so like how's like, I know it's like personal obviously, but how's like the process of kind of like having a kid adjust to like a new mother and just like getting that feeling of like family and like stuff like that, because in my own personal life, you know, I was like okay with like my stepfathers, but I didn't really feel like, you know, family, to be honest.
Yeah,
so like,
I come from a blended family. I come from like I have stepdads and stepkids, and like you know everyone just comes together. So I think from a young age I've already known that like family, community, whatever needs to be done for another person is really what matters. So I'm happy that I walked in to this with that dynamic. And honestly, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's been really smooth. Like it's been something that every step of the way that we thought something would happen where we would be worried about their health, our dynamic, whatever, everything's gone in our favor. And
nice, that's good to know.
Yeah, and I know that's not how it is for a lot of, I mean, me too. I definitely had a hard time like when my mom remarried or when my dad would be with someone or whatever, but it's been really
that's
cool. Sorry,
know.
I always take the mic from him.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Feminist.
I mean,
you can speak now.
Jason.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I got it right.
Yes.
You got it.
Yeah. So, do I want to press one of these? No. Okay. But so like, what's your take? You know, seeing that you're the parent that like brought in the kids and like
nothing much more to add from what Blakelee had. I mean, she's incredible. It's a super healthy dynamic on
good
our
to know,
side. It's like very fortunate for that, and we joke all the time. It was like, you know, kind of the situation is going to pay off when Luke starts being the coder for our immersive media technology. He's
oh my God.
And like Harper's already taking pictures. Look at her.
Yeah, you guys already got like your whole team. That's
They know.
great. Yeah.
They know.
It's so cool. Yeah.
pay us back someday, kids. You know.
Yeah, as they should. Yes.
I was painting I had an artist booth at NYA, and
NYA?
It's New York art.
Okay.
It's kind of a newer gallery. It's by Shane Townley. He is expanding it now. There's like Townley Gallery, Gallery 104. Anyway, I was doing an artist booth with them, and I took Harper with me, and I was like, "Can she paint on the walls?" And they were like, "Yeah." and then Shane was like, "This is the first time a kid's painted on the walls." And I'm like, "That's so cool because kids should paint on the walls." And now it was really cool. I went to her school to do her first grade art auction for the first graders.
that's
And,
nice,
and she was like, I paint on gallery walls. So if you need my help, like, let me know. We're really fortunate because I know that it does not happen that way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's really cool though. To, like see you guys come together and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, one of my pieces on the website is called Incidate. That was actually like the whole process of me finding my biological father. I don't know if you're the same.
No, I'm not
me.
the same. That's like an interesting story. Yeah,
and it was really hard because I knew that if I was going to put it on a canvas, then I knew I was going to have to put
Release
other stuff too. And there's journal entries. There's the actual emails that we went back and forth with. It definitely was not a positive experience at all. It took me about like a month to finish it because it was so emotionally draining. But in the long run, like there's so many kids who have that in their lives, and there's so many people that don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to deal with it. I still am. But that month process got me through a lot of things because it was movement, writing, painting, him. He's always like my psychiatrist.
Sometimes the topics of some of the
he's like, content. Oh man. But that's what's important, because if you're not releasing stuff like that, then how are other people supposed to learn different coping mechanisms than just like shoving it down, being resentful? You know what I mean? So
that's so cool. That's like really.
Thank you.
That's like really cool. Yeah.
The piece is really cool. I know that we're on a podcast, but it's very, very dark. But the first layer was my handprint, and it's kind of symbolizing how you can emotionally or mentally escape from anywhere. You can kind of block yourself out, but physically you're always there. So you have to deal with the problems in order for growth, you know? And so check it out. You should check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Look it up.
Yeah, definitely. That's so cool. Yeah.
So Jason, where do you see Blakelee in 5 years?
I think, we should talk about
gun to your head.
No. You know.
So she's been very well received everywhere she's shown so far. She has about, I would say, 10 really significant large scale oil paintings.
Awesome.
She sponges, like she said earlier. So if you see her work, it's really unique. She pulls the paint off the canvas with the sponging technique. So at different layers, she'll sort of really heavy up on the paint. And that's why I think, it's sort of like, it kind of clicked to us in terms of the idea of eventually being sort of a multidimensional immersive media type of concept. I think that's where we'll be in 5 years, to answer your question very quickly. But once we saw her pull that paint off, it starts to become three-dimensional. You start to go from a two-dimensional sort of, format to three-dimensional, even sort of in person without any layers of technology over it. So she's got sort of 10 different pieces. Now she's working on a sort of unified collection. So that she starts with solo shows coming up here probably in the next year or so. And then sort of as the technology sort of gets to a place where it's more practical, cost efficient, and sort of just able to sort of be spread across any type of environment. That's what I think in 5 years, that sort of combination of the technology will be ready for the media, and hopefully the audiences will be ready for the technology too.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your collection?
Right now, there's really what we want, which we can't really say right now.
Top secret.
You got to bring me back. You got to bring me back for the secrets. But what we want actually isn't even available. We've met with a lot of tech people, and it's just like it's not there yet. And so we know that we have time, which is awesome.
I want to see what this is. I want to know more.
Yeah.
If you go to that Arcadia show,
I'm off the mic.
Yeah. If you go to one of those immersive AR sort of concepts, you'll see it. The content is more. I'm not going to call it generic, but it's like one experience for everyone, same experience for everyone. We think that, especially with Blakelee's work at a collection, that individualized experiences, based on sort of movement, in this case, the viewer's movement around Blakelee's paintings, this sort of immersive augmented reality technology will be customized to that person, to that particular movement.
That sounds so cool. So it's kind of like,
did I just give it away?
No, you didn't.
I just played the whole thing out.
No, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, so is it
high level explanation?
So
you coded that. I saw you. I saw you, babe.
So it's almost like, would you like call it similar to kind of like a create your own adventure book, or kind of like similar to like a RPG sort of thing?
You're asking too many questions, Daniel.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's
I
definitely
will know everything.
It's more geared to that, but there's also going to be within that individual's journey towards whatever we're talking about, which we can't say much about, you're still going to be guided through a concept that was intentional. It's going to, there's always going to be intention behind what you're looking at, what you're feeling, because like, I think that's the artist's biggest job, is to release their concept, and whatever feedback is what you get. But this one will be kind of more like a way to express that intention more, so that it becomes more expansive. You know what I mean? Like a collective idea, even though you're an individual.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. You guys want to leave with anything?
I'm a great rapper. I don't know.
Some reverb on your voice, maybe.
This is Seeking NYC, or Sounds Like NYC. Yeah.
Pretty good.
No, I think we're good. Can I plug some stuff?
Yeah, do thing.
My Instagram is For The Observer, all lowercase, and then my other one, if you want to follow like me and my family and kind of more of the process, is Blakelee underscore mover, and the website is For The Observer, and I also sell prints on canvas, gloss paper, poster paper, all that stuff. Metal's really cool. I would suggest that. On I'm on Saatchi Art, and I'm on Darkroom for
these
that.
Are all Instagram.
These are all Instagram. I mean, the website's Darkroom, and Saatchi are on my Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But
Those
I would really
online.
check out the website, just because that's where all the documentation is.
Okay, got it.
With everything, slideshows, music, whatever. So
Jason, do you have any like? Do you like post anything, or like do you have like? Do you like create art with like technology, or like in like a digital sense, or are you just like the guy behind the scenes sort of thing?
I'm on the technology side. I've been looking for
got it.
applications like art to sort of to bring that tech to. So I'm really on that side.
He's much more talented than he's letting. He's much more talented.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you so much for having us on, because I live for podcasts. So it's been a dream of mine, and I definitely feel like this will be a thing that I want to continue doing.
Sure.
So
please tell
really
all
cool.
your friends about it. Tell everybody you know. Please.
You already know.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Sorry about the
Thank you again.
Thing.
Thank you.
It's okay. You handled it well.
Yeah.